let's get to it because last night, the LA Rams, and most people saw it, they were beaten, no surprise, by the Green Bay Packers, who aren't very good themselves, 24-12, doubled up. And they now, Rob, stand at 4-10, which means that they, at the very least, they will, Rob G, what is it? The record. Give me the breakdown.
They will now, they've already tied the record for all time most losses in a single season by a defending Super Bowl champion with 10. Assuming they lose one of their next couple of games, they will stand alone as the worst defending champion in Super Bowl history.
According to record. Rob, you know, the Rams were kind of arrogant. You know, they had their parade, and everybody's arrogant at the parade, so I'm not killing them. But, you know, the GM goes and
F the picks.
Forget those picks, right?
I don't know if the F was forget.
Right, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. I'm trying to be
You're trying to be
family
PC.
friendly, right? But what are your thoughts on this? I mean, it's a bad. Let me just throw it out to you bluntly. Was it worth it? I mean, they're terrible, and they got their Super Bowl. No Von Miller anymore, no OBJ anymore, but they got their Super Bowl. They gave up, they mortgaged the future. They signed Matthew Stafford to the extension, all that. Was it worth it?
Of course it was. Of course it was worth winning a championship. I mean, I can't sit here.
Some are out there saying it wasn't.
No, I can't sit there.
I wasn't sure where you were.
Yeah, I can't sit here and say that when you have teams like the Lions and the Browns, and I could go on and on and on, who haven't even sniffed the Super Bowl. Forget about winning one.
And the Cowboys haven't been there
in a quarter century, more than a quarter century. So I'm not going to poo-poo winning a championship. What I question and I wonder is, like, where this franchise is going from here, Chris. Like, they're in cap hell. They don't have any picks. They have a coach who could bolt at any time, right? Like, he's got these opening options maybe to do television or whatever, so he could kind of bolt whenever he wants.
Not to mention, and coach, a lot of places would love to have him as a coach.
And the other part is, you didn't make it didn't solidify you in Los Angeles. You moved here. You got this new stadium. Chris, they had an awful small, it wasn't even a parade or a gathering for when they won the championship. So even with all that, they didn't cement themselves into the LA, like, going forward, like
lower.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Where people are like, the Rams are back, that's my team. So they could be bad for the next 5 years, and it's going to hurt them as far as, even though they won a championship, they didn't win back LA, is what I'm trying to say. So, sure, would you want to put in everything you can to try to win a championship? Absolutely not. Absolutely, yes, you want to win a championship. But long-term for this franchise, it's not going to work like it normally works for most. They were trying to win over people. They were trying to reestablish themselves as some powerhouse. Because remember, they went to the Super Bowl twice, but they put everything in, and now they have a mess that they're going to have to deal with for the next few years. And who knows? Matthew Stafford could even quit on them. You know what I mean? Retire on them is what I meant to say. So yes. Do it, but I don't know at all costs, because now they have to pay the price.
This is for all the naysayers out there, all the haters. I thought Rob Parker might be one. He surprised me. It was worth it. I don't care that you are sorry as all get out right now. I don't care that you're one of the 3 or 4 worst teams in football this season. Get you a Super Bowl. As Rob Parker said, there are franchises that have never won a Super Bowl.
Never even been.
And one Super Bowl, Rob. Yeah, Sean McVay was already viewed as a great coach. We know he already had a coaching tree and all that stuff. people were beginning to have a few doubts, but still, for the most part, he was viewed as a great coach. But the Super Bowl sealed him. He is a made man now. It validated, it justified that, yes, this guy is indeed a great coach. Mike McCarthy still living off that Super Bowl he won with Aaron Rodgers in 2011. Still. So Sean McVay is a made man. Rob, Matthew Stafford getting that Super Bowl took him from being a disappointment, having a disappointing career, to having a very good career. Not a Hall of Famer, but people now will look at the numbers. Wow, his numbers are great. And he won a Super Bowl. Wow. Like, it completely changed his legacy. And Aaron Donald didn't need it. It's not as big for defensive guys, but still, it's hard to say Reggie White had a Super Bowl. Lawrence Taylor had, 2?
Yep.
It's hard to say you were the best defensive player ever, or even in their class, like argue. Like you're on that level when you didn't have any rings. And so, Rob, I don't care if they're bad for the next 4 years. They might be, but it's still, and it'll be painful in the moment, but it still was worth it to get that ring. And as far as last thing for me, taking over LA, there's nothing they could do to take over LA. LA, when it comes to football, is a Raiders town. And nothing the Rams did was going to change that. Oh, sure, if they're going to win 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, maybe. But then you had the Patriots, you had the Chiefs, who when they won it, in 2019, you knew they were going to be good for the next several years and have a chance to win more. The Rams, Stafford's a little older. He's not old, but he's a little older. Kind of old.
Also beat up.
So Donald almost retired. Yeah, Stafford's injured. Donald almost retired. Jalen Ramsey's getting older. Like, we knew what it was. It was a 1-year thing, and they got it. So more power to them.
Yeah, it's just a matter of if for most people, they enjoy the moment. You got your championship. But it's going to be a rough road for the Rams, and I just wonder, Chris, how much it'll come undone. Do you know what I mean? Like Jalen Ramsey's getting burnt like crazy this year, right? And so who knows if they move on from him, and then if Stafford quits, and Aaron Donald hinted at quitting before, you know what I mean? If this thing really goes down bad, you just wonder where this franchise will be. They'll have the Super Bowl, but how viable they'll be.
Yeah, I think it'll depend on does McVay stay? That's huge because he is a good coach. And Stafford, Rob, will he be able to play next year, and will he be able to play at a high level? Because Baker Mayfield, as we saw last night, ain't the answer. Baker was Baker last night. And so he might be at a stopgap, but he's not the long-term answer. And they got to strengthen the offensive line. It's a horrible offensive line this year. And so that'll be the key. You still got Cooper Kupp, but we'll see. If McVay stays, I think they can become viable again. Rob, fortunately for them, at least right now, we'll see next year, the NFC isn't, a wonderful conference. So maybe that'll help them out.
But it doesn't mean that they won't bounce back, the NFC. You know what I mean?
You're right. Next year it could be a whole different thing. So we'll see. But the better young quarterbacks are most of them in the AFC. All right.